Welcome to my second video in this series, Concepts in the Step Method. Today we're going to discuss defending. And in the step method there are 5 ways identified to defend. The acronym we use is PC-MIC. The P stands for protect, the C for capture, the M for move away, the I for interpose, and the C for counterattack. And we're going to do it by looking at a number of double attacks. And in the case of a double attack, what you often see, and what the first thing is that you check, is whether one target can defend the other target. So with a double attack, there are 2 targets under attack, so you need 2 defenses. And it's logical that one of the targets takes care of the other target. The second thing that we're going to see is that you always have to be aware of the material balance. So sometimes you have to defend against mate, and if you're queen up, you know that you can give material back to defend against the mate. So what do we see here? We have a queen on g3. And the queen on g3 has a double attack on the bishop on c3 and the king on g8. And if we play a bishop g7, the bishop interposes the attack on the king on g8 and the bishop moved away. So this is moving away and interposing. In this case, the queen is attacking the rook on b5 and the knight on d7. And by playing a rook d5, the rook is interposing, but also defending the knight on d7. So let's see what's going on here. So white has 2 threats. White's first threat is to play b4, which is checkmate. And then the bishop on c4 is threatening and a discovered attack on the queen on g8. White would like to play rook c6 and then pick up the queen on g8. Once again, we apply the tip and we play queen b8. So the target, which was the queen, is defending against the threat of b4 mate. In this case, one of the targets is not involved, so there is a double attack on the king and the knight on b6. Black plays queen e6, and in this case we have interpose. The queen interposes the attack on the king on g8, and defending the queen on e6 is defending the knight on b6. So this one is more complicated. So we have a rook on d1 being under attack by a knight on c3 and a knight on e7 being under attack by the rook on e8. And if people want to stop the video and have a moment to look for themselves, in this case we can use the rule that we discussed in the first video. If I ask you 2 moves with the same color and mate, then people find the move bishop g5, bishop f6 mate. So again we see how strong of an idea that is. Bishop g5 defending the knight on e7, and it's being a counterattack because we are threatening mate. And with a counterattack you need a threat that is of course more important than the current attack of your opponent. has to be of higher value. So bishop g5 is an idea, but now we have to verify. So we did the orientation, we found the candidate moves, but now we have to calculate and verify. And of course you can say, what happens if the rook takes the knight on e7, lifting the mate, because that gives the black king the square g8, and afterwards the knight takes on d1. Well, after bishop g5, rook takes e7, white has the intermediate move, rook d8, king g7, and only then we pick up the rook. So this was a nice example of a counterattack, and also again of the rule, two moves with the same color and mate, and how useful it is to find important threats. A very interesting way of defending is by pinning, and in the step method this is called counterattack. So the queen on e5 is attacking the rook on d4 and the king on h2. We play queen g3 and we're pinning the queen on e5 to the square b8. So we get three attacking targets, king, material and square, and here we see that we are attacking the square b8, a back rank mate. So after queen takes d4, queen b8, it is soon mate. So this is called in the step method counterattack. Personally, I think if you think about if you capture an attacker, basically it has no power anymore. And if you have an absolute pin, like in this case after queen g3, right, it's not like a relative pin, then because it's a mating threat, you also take away all the power of the attacking piece. So a very surprising and interesting way of defending. Okay, so I also said that we have to be aware of how much material we are ahead and what we can invest. So the mating threat in this case is rook h5 checkmate. And now we are going to count, and we see that actually white has an additional queen on f1, and if the queen would go to h3, the bishop would take, and then the threat would be still in the position. So we have to look if there's another way to invest material and to protect against the mate. And it looks pretty hopeless. And if people want to pause the video and find it themselves, this is a good moment. So rook h5 is the checkmate, and we can defend ourselves by sacrificing one rook. And now the rook on c5 is defending the mating square h5, and if the rook goes backwards to renew the threat, we go to the h file. And the mate is no longer there, and we're still up material and we have a winning position. Final example, and this is from step 5. So again, what is the threat of black? Well, the rook is attacking here, and the second threat is queen takes h2, king takes h2, rook h4. Now we have to look at what is the material balance at the moment. So both sides have 4 pawns, 2 rooks and a queen, but white is a knight up. So white can invest in the defense by playing knight f5 check, which is a double attack on the king and the rook on d4, and after taking, save the queen by playing queen e3, and after king d7, the mating threat of queen takes h2, king takes h2 is gone. So let me just make a random move for white just to show. Because after rook h4 we can interpose. And white is winning. So this is just to show that after king d7, the mating threat of queen takes h2, rook h4 is gone. So when you are under pressure, realize how much material you are ahead and how much you can invest. This concludes the second video in the concept series. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.